Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video we're going to start talking about classes. So, with methods, we were creating our own custom methods other than the main method, right? Now we're going to learn how to create our own classes. So far we've only been using one class, which is class program, and if we look over here we have class main class is what Replit calls it. So the main class is the class we've been using. And then inside the program or the main class, we have a static void main method, and then all of our code has gone inside of that. Well, we can create other classes as well as creating other methods. And these classes can hold specific methods and data that we can bring back into our program and use them appropriately. So, let's take a look at an example. So in this, we have our class program, which is what we normally have, or class, main class. We have a static void main method, and inside of that, we have this statement here. Now, this looks kind of familiar probably. You might be looking at that going, oh, wait a second. That kind of looks like whenever we use randoms, when we bring in a random, that kind of looks like what we're doing there. And you're absolutely right. Whenever we create a random, what we're doing is we're instantiating an instance of that random class. That's all we're doing. And in order to make the random work, we have to create a new random inside of our game or inside of our program. We have to call it a name, and then we have to set it equal to a new version of the random class. This is what we're doing in this. So in here, we're going to create a new class of the type boy. We're going to create a boy class. We're going to say my boy, so it's my version of the boy, equal to a new boy class. And then we can change the color to, myboy.color. So color is probably something inside of that boy class that we can pull out and do something with, right? On the other side, maybe we have a girl class. We can create a new instance of the girl class equal to, or call it my girl and set it equal to a new girl. And then we can change our color to mygirl.color, right? So that would be our main program. But outside of, notice that the class bracket is ended, right? So over here, let's take a look at that. Now, these brackets handle the main method, and so when we created a new method, we would create it outside of the main. For this, we're going to actually create our classes below everything else in our program. Super crazy. We're going outside of the boundaries of the program. Insane, right? So we can create a public class boy with a public string called color inside, and then there's some data. And we can create a public class girl with a public string color and set it to pink. We can swap these. Don't get all mad at me because you're like, Mr. Storm, boys like pink too. I know. It's just an example. So this keyword here is very important. This public keyword is really important. Public sets the scope for this object. And if we want to access this class, it needs to be public. Same thing with any of the variables on the inside of this class. We need to be able to access that, so we need to call it public. If we create a method inside of this public class, or inside of this class, it needs to be public as well in order for us to call that method, okay? So let's play around with this concept in Replit. So let's see. Let's actually just do this example. So we want two new methods. So public, we will call this public class, and we'll call it boy. Now notice we don't have an open and close parentheses here. It's just public class boy, because up here we don't have open and close parentheses either. And inside we're going to create a public string. We'll call it color, and we'll set it equal to blue. And then we're going to create another public class girl, public string color equal to pink. All right, so now inside of, so those are outside of the class, right? So these are new classes. Inside of here, let's use some of the method stuff that we've learned. Let's create a public static void change color method. All right. And in here, let's just call our change color method just to get used to not having too much stuff in our main class. All right, so inside the change color method, we want to, let's say, int gender console.writeLine. Are you a boy or girl? And then let's do gender equals console.readLine. So, and look, I know that gender is non-binary, so let's give it some options here. Let's say, let's do what gender are you? How about that? That's a little bit more inclusive. Alrighty, what gender are you? And then let's create a new class and we'll call it non-binary. How about that? That'll work. And let's set string color equal to, I don't know, what's a good color for non-binary? Purple's good. I like purple. Purple's a good color. We'll set it to purple. All right, so what gender are you? And then let's do to lower. There we go. Okay, what gender are you? And then they enter their gender. Then we can have some checks here. If gender equals boy, then we are going to do the stuff over here where we create a new instance of boy and then set it to set the color to that color. So what we need to do is call the class boy. We'll say my boy equals new boy. So we're instantiating that class. We're creating a new instance of the class. And then we will set color, which is not a variable that we've declared yet. So let's go ahead and do that. String color. And so we'll set color equal to myBoy.color. Okay, so notice that because we've created an instance of boy, a new instance, then we can just call myBoy, which is the name for the instance of that boy class, and we can call any public variable inside of that class, right? Down here, instead of just making it, I'm going to do something crazy with the non-binary thing here in just a second. Just hear me out, all right? Okay. Then let's do else if, and we basically do the same thing. Gender equals girl. And girl, my girl, talking about my girl. My girl. Color equals my boy dot color. Okay, so this is all pretty standard, right? But what if they're anything else, right? Oh, not what I wanted. What if there's something else? Well, let's create a method inside of this class. And the method will be a public static color rand. We'll call it that. But let's see, it's going to return a string. So color rand. And I don't need any arguments. And then inside here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a string array, set it equal to, I'm going to call it colors. And we'll set it equal to blue, pink, red, purple, green, so on and so forth, right? Orange, right? Just because, there's such a wide diversity that, we want to make sure we account for all the different, different diverse groups of people that are out there. So we have an array with all the other, genders that we could have. And then what we could do is we could have a random, which we're accessing the random class here, random, and we'll call it R&D, or, just in keeping with the same thing that we're doing, my random. Because now that we know what we're doing, let's actually call it the way, the my version of random. My random equals new random. And we'll set an int called index equals my random dot next 0 and colors dot length. All right, we're going to return colors and index. Okay, so what we've just done there is we've basically created a method, a method inside of a new class. Okay, now when we call the non-binary class, we can also call this method inside the. If this works, I'm going to be so excited. So let's instantiate a new version of the non-binary class. So non-binary equals my non-binary. New non-binary. Perfect. And then we want color to be equal to my non-binary dot, and then we can run the method here, color rand. Okay, perfect. So right, and let's say your color is, just to make sure that we got the right color, color. Okay, so I'm pretty excited. I hope this actually works, and let's see what happens. So let's do an easy situation. Oh, hello, we've got a lot of issues. So line 16, gender.console.readline.to lower cannot convert string to, why did I make gender? That was weird. I made gender an integer? Strange. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, the name my boy does not exist in the current context on line 26. Oh, because I didn't instantiate my boy. I wanted to instantiate my girl. See, I make mistakes too. Let's see. Line 31. Static member non-binary color cannot be accessed with an instance reference. Qualify it with a type name instead. I knew that. I figured there was going to be an issue somewhere with me trying to access static member non-binary .color rand cannot be accessed with an instance reference. Qualify it with a type name instead. Let's see. With an instance reference. Okay. Well, I instantiated... I instantiated my non-binary class, and I'm trying to access a method inside that class. Cannot be accessed with an instance reference. Qualify it with a type name instead. I'm going to troubleshoot this, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I figured it out. So all of that problem was because I had the keyword static here. Static, we wanted to get rid of that. That was causing problems with my method call. So it's just a public string color rand. So let's go ahead and test it out. Let's try out the boy. All right, let's do I am boy. Your color is blue. Great. All right, let's run it again. And let's try a non-binary. So let's run. And what gender are you? Let's see, I'm Zer. My color is pink. So I don't know if it actually picked pink or if it was random, so let's try it again. Purple. So I can see that it's randomly picking colors based on a random color selector inside of my color rand method that I created inside my new class. So this is just an example of how we can kind of build these control structures that will help us to move through our programs in a more organized way, right? And this is something that I really wish that we could spend more time on, because this is really fun to play around with, but it takes time to build up to what we're doing. It takes time to build up to this. But just know that if you understand this, if you really get this, then you are really close to being a real master at C#. In Computer Programming 2, we're going to take all of these concepts you've learned and we're going to apply them to making video games in Unity. And we're going to use this concept of class a ton. We're going to constantly be instantiating new classes and then creating something out of them and pulling methods out of them and all kinds of stuff. This is a really good concept that you're going to dig deep into the more you get into computer programming. All right, I'm going to let that go. This was a good lesson, but we need to actually get started on the work for the week. You need to work on the class quiz and then move on to the character creator assignment. There will be a video for that, so I'll see you there. Good luck.